grifters, we 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 grifters.
Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks. Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks.
I'm an intel guy. 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 I'm an intel guy.
We grifters, 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 we grifters.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Lue Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Lue Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Lue Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Lue Elizondo.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Yes. Yes.
Lue Elizondo.
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 Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. We are back on track and ready to attack a fresh new story. And this one is surprising even to me. And that is that a group of people that were previously involved in an effort collecting money from the public, specifically from UFO fans, have gotten together with a new effort to collect money from the public. And I find it very interesting that some of the people in these organizations are already millionaires. One is for sure a billionaire in the form of Christopher Mellon of the Mellon banking family. Very, very interesting that they continue to prop up organizations attempting to collect money from the American public for something like UAP or UFO truth or UFO disclosure, which is pretty laughable. But we're going to dig into all of this. And we're also going to be giving you a little bit of a history lesson before you open your wallet to anyone running something called the UAP Disclosure Fund, telling you that we should demand the truth. I thought that maybe, just maybe, I mean, call me kooky, maybe we should demand the truth from the people asking for the money that say demand the truth. So tonight I'm going to be demanding some truth from some of the members of this UAP Disclosure Fund, which was just stood up. And it's quite a laughable story if we get into it. And I'm going to just share my screen. We're going to jump right into this. If you're just joining us, we are going to be covering the UAP Disclosure Fund, which was just stood up by these people: Lue Elizondo, Garry Nolan, Carl Nell, Christopher K. Mellon, Kirk McDonald, Juan Fung, pardon me if I'm mispronouncing that, don't want to be insensitive, Matthew Ford, and Leslie Duckworth. Tonight, however, we'll be focusing mostly on the three individuals, Lue Elizondo, Garry Nolan, and Christopher K. Mellon, who ran a similar effort telling the public that they were going to get UFO truth and disclosure if you just invest in their company, which was supposedly a public benefit company. But so far, the only benefit that I've seen is that those guys got to fill their pockets with UFO dollars, while all of the investors apparently got fucked out of every dime that they invested. I said it for you. And if anybody out there can find me a single investor in their previous effort, it was called To the Stars Academy, that actually made any money off of their investment or even recouped their original investment, got back the money they originally gave this previous organization that they stood up called To the Stars Academy, please contact me, because I've been trying for years to find a single investor that would go on the record and say, yes, I gave them $1,000 and I got my $1,000 back. To my knowledge, and to the knowledge of several other researchers I've consulted and spoken to, no one got any of their money back from the To the Stars Academy, which was an organization promising very similar things to what this new organization is. So let's talk for a moment before I begin an article which I've written on To the Stars to educate people. I think it's very important that we, as individuals, one of the problems with the way this whole UFO lie, I call it a UFO scam, works, is that people's memories are very short. So this new organization pops up and they're going to demand the truth about UFOs and UAPs. They just need your money to do so. And one might ask themselves, why does Garry Nolan, who is likely a millionaire just based on the patents that he owns and his very, very lucrative salary as a Stanford University professor, I would venture to guess that his net worth is in has to be $1 million or more. Why does Garry Nolan and Christopher Mellon, whose family, the Mellon banking family, has literally billions of dollars, why don't they put their own money where their mouth is? If they want to demand UAP transparency, why don't they donate money? Why don't they, I don't understand. You've got a literal billionaire is in your organization. Why doesn't he just, drop you off $1 billion of the Mellon banking family money and leave the public alone? But back to demanding the truth. So these people want you to demand the truth. And I would say that before we demand the truth out of anybody else, maybe we should demand the truth out of them. For example, we should demand the truth about why Lue Elizondo has apparently lied about running a government UFO program that never existed for years now to profit from UFOs. Maybe we should demand that truth. Maybe we should demand the truth about how Garry Nolan used Stanford University labs equipment and apparently maybe even personnel to profit from UFO, completely and totally fake, provably fake UFO stories. You remember that one he did with Ross Coulthart where Ross Coulthart promised they had, quote, conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this renowned scientist. And then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. Yeah, that documentary was so deceptive, they had to take it off of YouTube or risk losing, I suppose they could risk losing their YouTube channel because using such deceptive practices to get somebody to click on a video is completely and totally against YouTube terms of service. Maybe we should demand the truth out of Garry Nolan. Where's the ball shavings analysis? You and Ross Coulthart, like the clowns that you are, stood up in front of audiences and claimed you had definitive or conclusive proof of alien technology years ago. Where's the conclusive proof, Garry Nolan? And what about Christopher Mellon, who stood in front of a party balloon and claimed it was likely an alien spaceship? He stood in front of a picture of a party balloon, a verified 100% proven party balloon, and claimed it was likely alien technology. And before we begin, there's so many problems with this that I just don't understand, because nothing says credible like having somebody in your UFO truth organization that previously stood up in front of a picture of a 1-year-old party balloon. When your child turns 1 year old, you get that one, and claimed that it was likely an alien spaceship exhibiting extraordinary out-of-this-world physics that we could not duplicate, or whatever he said. It's so stupid. Michael Huntington commented, lack of proper research knowledge, lack of full proper vetting of evidentiary materials, lack of coordination, poor communication, willingness to exploit unverified, unvalidated visual materials to influence financial investment, insular echo chamber disconnect. Yeah, I would have to say so. So here's a board member for your UAP new group, a guy that's so dumb he doesn't know the difference between a party balloon and an alien spaceship. That's how dumb Christopher Mellon is. And besides that, there's more. He's so dumb that, this is another thing. These people always shoot themselves in the foot by including people that are about as credible as crackheads in their organizations, because after all, Christopher Mellon is also the guy that hung out at UFO conferences with a Holocaust-denying Nazi girl. That's right. This is from some time ago, but I want to remind you, this is what your UAP Disclosure Now group consists of. I said some time ago, nothing says credibility like taking selfies with a known Holocaust denier. By the way, that is a fact, Christopher Mellon. This woman is a Holocaust denier. A Holocaust denier and a good Nazi promoter, Marina Sarin, at a UFO conference. I said Christopher Mellon is an idiot. He stood up in front of a fake party balloons and lied too. He was a TTSA, quote, techno scam, unquote, member and a proven liar. That's right. This is who you're getting your UFO truth from. Proven liars who are hanging out with Holocaust-denying good Nazi promoters. Remember this girl? She's a reincarnated Nazi SS general, right? She was a member of the Vril Society also in a previous life somehow. I don't know how that works. Maybe she was having multiple concurrent lives. She was selling people superpowers and psychic readings. Nothing says credibility, Christopher Mellon, like hanging out with a Nazi girl with superpowers, right? This is the clown show that these people run, and they pretend to be credible while they're hanging out with Nazis at UFO gatherings. And I get it. Maybe he stood for a selfie. He didn't know her history, but you issue a statement and you condemn those things. To my knowledge or recollection, he never did, despite a great deal of controversy when he did this, right? But then everybody's connected, because then Linda Moulton Hale interviewed this Nazi girl all about her Nazi previous lives and all that other shit. And, Christopher Mellon and Lue Elizondo had an association with Linda Moulton Hale. After all, she provided their fake alien spaceship parts. Yeah, that's right. Christopher Mellon pretended he might have alien spaceship parts, and so did Lue Elizondo and everybody else in the TTSA techno investment thing, right? But we'll get into all of this. I've got a lot to share with you. And history, I always say history is our own greatest teacher. So before, my friends, we give our hard-earned money to an organization, even if it is an organization that is purporting to or promising to deliver something we want, whether that's UFO disclosure or anything else, I think it's very important that we are cautious about the people offering things. So to share the previous graphic one more time, just so that everybody is clear, this supposedly new organization, by the way, I'm calling it TTSA 2 Cosmic Con Boogaloo, okay? This is TTSA 2 Cosmic Con Boogaloo. And again, I'll share my screen just to remind everybody that this new organization has 3 people that were involved in what has been described as a techno investment scam, and what is possibly, according to some reporting, under investigation by the SEC. And that would be 3 people were, 2 people were board members, to my knowledge and recollection, Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon. And Garry Nolan was also a part of that group. And I don't know what happened. He wasn't as closely associated with that group, but he was with that group for a time. And he can correct me if I am wrong in that. So what we've got is a new UFO money grab. And in this money grab, they want you to forget about the last money grab. They want you to demand the truth, but they want you to not demand the truth about the last time they stood up an organization and promised all kinds of things. And oh boy, did they promise things like they were going to build a spaceship for investors. They promised things like Lue Elizondo ran an official Pentagon UFO program for 10 years. Oh, turns out that program didn't exist. So I guess if we follow that logic, they lied to investors while soliciting UFO money. And by the way, this is also going to be problematic, because I will be the first person to say, if this organization does not immediately amend what they're saying about Lue Elizondo here, then everybody should complain to the IRS, the SEC, or whoever is in charge of these things, because this graphic means that this organization is knowingly lying to donators by saying that Lue Elizondo is the former head of Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. There's multiple on-the-record sources from the Pentagon, from the real Pentagon UFO program director, not the one from the land of make-believe, Lue Elizondo, the real one, Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, that says that Lue Elizondo never ran ATIP. He had no assigned responsibilities around UFOs during his time at the Pentagon. He didn't run a program for 10 years, 5 years, or 1 year. He had no funding, no offices, no staff. There's no paperwork, nothing to prove that he was the director or head of any UFO program, Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, or otherwise. And even his own paperwork a complaint he filed with the United States government proves that what he did in that paperwork, he said, let's not call it a program, let's call it an activity, right? They need to amend this. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a law enforcement person, but I do know that you're not allowed to lie to donators as a registered nonprofit while you're soliciting donations. You're not allowed to lie. And even in their first graphic they put out, they're lying and saying, in my opinion, they're lying and saying Lue Elizondo was the former head of a program that he wasn't. Clearly he wasn't. And some challenges could be made. And I think that they're going to have a real hard time. I predict that he's either going to resign after people start complaining to the appropriate authorities. And by the way, I freely admit I'm speculating here, but I'm allowed to speculate. What happens if people start complaining that this organization is collecting money from the public by lying about one of its so-called board of director members. Is that legal? Can you just lie? Can I just start a UAP organization and invent an organization and say that I ran it and then collect public investor money or public donations? I don't think so. I think I'd be prosecuted. But remember, there's a lot of politics involved here. And that may, I don't understand how people can keep getting away with this. He got away with it in TTSA. They literally lied to investors, in my opinion. Prove me wrong. Somebody prove me wrong. They said he ran a government program. He was the director of a government UFO program for 10 years while they were soliciting money, investment money from the public. How is that legal? It's not, according to SEC guy. You can't lie to investors to get them to invest. But what do I know, right? Yeah. So this is great. So we're going to get into a history lesson on To the Stars Academy. And that is the previous effort run by three of the people that are running this new effort, this new money grab, in my opinion. But before we get into that article, let me just take a moment to recognize the live chat. I see, let me see. All right, we've got a great bunch of attendance here. I see Admiral Rascals is here. Patty Wilhelm is here. Garaji is here. Richard Warner. Talmud is here. XXX is here. Above the Clouds. Bobby Broadway is here. Arlene Atkins. I might have said that already. Michael Seahold is here. Lord Ludicrous. Brando Keating. Richard Warner. Ursula Bielski is here. Welcome. The Urban Way. UFO Shane is here saying, let's go. Entropic Horizon is here. Dave B is here. Plan D, Wreaking Havoc 215, and many, many more. If I missed you, I apologize. Just want to check in with the live chat. Welcome, all of you, one and all. Scott Brown is here. Haven't seen you in a while. Welcome. Elise de Avalon is here. Yes, and we have Pathfinder, and OK is here. Welcome, one and all. So I'm going to give you a bit of a history lesson about To the Stars Academy, which was an organization run by Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, and also included the participation of Garry Nolan. So To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, or TTSA, launched in 2017. And by the way, this is the reason I'm calling tonight's broadcast TTSA 2 Cosmic Con Boogaloo, is because we've been here before when dubious UFO characters promised us all kinds of things. We just have to give them money and they're going to do all kinds of great things for us. By the way, spoiler alert, do you know what they delivered on their TTSA promises? Nothing, absolutely nothing. But it's a little more detailed than that. So I titled this To the Stars Academy, an unfulfilled promise cloaked in UFO hype. To the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, or TTSA, launched in 2017 with great fanfare, and it quickly became a beacon for UFO enthusiasts and curious investors alike. Founded by Tom DeLonge, former Blink-182 frontman turned UFO advocate, TTSA promised to revolutionize our understanding of unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP, through cutting-edge research and groundbreaking disclosures. However, as the initial excitement faded, a critical examination revealed a troubling picture of unsubstantiated claims, questionable leadership, and a conspicuous lack of financial transparency. Next, we move on to the mirage of TTSA's promises. And let's be clear, Lue Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Tom DeLonge, Garry Nolan, and others, they were promising an awful lot of things. And what did they deliver on? Nothing. The entire operation worked on a mirage of miraculous things that they were going to bring investors. TTSA's pitch was tantalizing. It was a combination, they claimed, of scientific research, aerospace technology, and entertainment ventures aimed at uncovering the truth about UFOs or UAPs. Central to their allure was the involvement of high-profile former government and military officials, figures such as Lue Elizondo, who allegedly headed the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, and Dr. Hal Puthoff, a physicist with a background in paranormal research. Their inclusion lent an air of credibility to the enterprise. The organization's early releases included several videos purportedly showing UAPs, which garnered significant media attention. These clips, later confirmed by the Pentagon as genuine military footage, fueled the belief that TTSA, or To the Stars Academy, was on the verge of groundbreaking discoveries. Yet these videos, while intriguing, did not provide any evidence of extraterrestrial technology or activity whatsoever. And in fact, in later years, I believe that the videos have been sufficiently debunked as nothing extraordinary. Next, we move on to the hollow roster. The supposed expertise of To the Stars Academy's board members was a major selling point. However, a deeper look into the backgrounds of board members raises questions about the veracity of their claims and the nature of their contributions. Lue Elizondo's role in a program called ATIP, for instance, remains incredibly murky and deceitful, with conflicting reports about the program's scope and his involvement. Later, Pentagon officials would issue extreme denials, claiming that Lue Elizondo had no responsibilities surrounding ATIP or UFOs at all during his time at the Pentagon. And then there's Dr. Hal Puthoff's association with this organization, because after all, Dr. Hal Puthoff has a long association with fringe science, pseudoscience, and paranormal studies, and his involvement certainly further complicated the narrative. Moreover, the board's composition seemed more tailored to attract media attention and investment rather than to advance rigorous scientific inquiry. While the resumes of some involved were impressive at a glance, they do not necessarily translate to the ability to produce the revolutionary breakthroughs that To the Stars Academy promised. Then, of course, we get to the financial black hole. One of the most glaring issues with To the Stars Academy is the opaque handling of the substantial funds they raised. The organization turned to public investments to fund its ambitious agenda, promising transparency and accountability. However, to date, there has been no comprehensive accounting of how the millions of dollars raised by To the Stars Academy has been spent. So again, back to the demand for truth. These people are starting a new organization and they want you to demand the truth. Well, I think we should demand the truth from them. Shouldn't Christopher Mellon, Lue Elizondo, and Garry Nolan have to answer questions about what happened to the millions of dollars you guys already took from the public? How was that money spent? Where's the spaceship that you promised investors? And how come those spaceship parts that you guys kind of sideways claimed were alien spaceship parts, that you may be in possession of alien spaceship parts? Yeah, they turned out to be normal earthly materials. Why did you lie while collecting public money? Didn't you know you couldn't do the same analysis that the recent Lab Aero employee did to find out that that was a missile casing? Those pieces came from a missile casing. They weren't alien spaceship parts. Shouldn't we demand we want to demand the truth, right? Well, why don't we demand the truth from Lue Elizondo? Where is the TTSA money you already collected, you greedy scumbag? Before now, you're going to set up a new organization, right? And how many UFO-related organizations seeking money has Lue Elizondo so far stood up? Pardon me. I don't know what that's about. I apologize. I'm going to put it on Do Not Disturb. It's just incredible to me. Lue Elizondo has a multitude of UFO organizations, some nonprofit, some for-profit, and we're going to get into that. So when it comes to, we should demand that these people, before they get any more money from the public, we should demand that they explain what happened to the millions of dollars from TTSA that they've already collected. You guys blew through a couple $1 million in a few years. Now you need a new organization with new money. But this is how the grift works. Back to the Stars Academy. Investors were led to believe their money would be used for groundbreaking research and development of advanced technologies, including a spaceship based, I suppose, on alien propulsion system technology. Yet, there has been little, really nothing, to show for these investments beyond continued media hype and some completely and totally unverified claims about them being in the possible possession of alien spaceship parts. The lack of detailed financial reports and progress updates by any members of To the Stars Academy, former or current, has left many supporters of To the Stars Academy, even ardent supporters, disillusioned and questioning where all that money went. Next, we get to unsubstantiated claims and speculation made by Lue Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, Tom DeLonge, and others at To the Stars. TTSA has made several bold claims about possessing materials and data that could revolutionize our understanding of physics and technology. These assertions, however, remain unsupported by any peer-reviewed research or public evidence. But that didn't stop the United States Army from wasting lots of money studying these apparent alien materials or alleged alien materials. The much publicized acquisition of exotic materials, which were touted as metamaterials or alien spaceship parts, supposedly from UAPs, has not led to any verifiable scientific breakthroughs or publications. So, interesting, unsubstantiated claims. Unproven claims is what they collected money on into the Stars Academy. The pattern that they had was to make sensational claims without providing any corresponding evidence. And this is reminiscent of classic disinformation tactics. And it's no secret that To the Stars Academy had all of those people that were former intelligence people or former CIA in their organization. These type of tactics keep the audience engaged and hopeful, but ultimately it contributes little to the actual body of scientific knowledge. I want to be sure that we recognize that there is a cost of unfulfilled promises. The impact of To the Stars Academy's unfulfilled promises extends beyond disappointed investors. By promoting these unverified claims and sensational narratives, they risk discrediting the legitimate scientific study of UFOs or UAPs by real and serious and real credible researchers. Let's be sure to understand that Lue Elizondo is not credible. Christopher Mellon is not credible. Garry Nolan is not credible. Mellon is hanging out with Nazis at UFO conventions. He's hanging out with literal Nazis at UFO conventions. And Christopher Mellon is standing in front of party balloons while soliciting public investments, claiming that's a UFO, a one party balloon. Garry Nolan is working with garbage peddling, disgraced Australian journalist Ross Coulthart, promising people that they have, quote, conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this renowned scientist. And then they cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. He's not credible. I'm sorry. He's not credible. He might be a credible immunologist, but he's not a credible person to get information about UFOs and aliens. He's been caught provably lying to help UFO grifting scumbag whores sell completely and totally fake stories about aliens. And Lue Elizondo has promoted, besides TTSA, the fake Italian UFO crash hoax. He's promoted Grush, who really has, we're coming up on a year. No evidence from Grush in a year. In fact, he groomed Grush to be an evidence-free whistleblower. Maybe it was Elizondo who taught Grush how to talk for 2 hours, but actually say nothing and provide no real evidence or information. Furthermore, the public, so let's not think of these three people as credible at all. They've all been involved in completely and totally fake UFO and alien stories. That's a problem. That's a real problem for an organization that claims they're going to bring you disclosure. What are you going to bring us disclosure with? Another fake Italian UFO crash? Another fake claim of being in possession of alien spaceship parts? And by the way, I freely admit this is speculation, but Garry Nolan and Christopher Mellon and Lue Elizondo aren't that stupid. They knew that if it came from Linda Moulton Howe, and those parts did, that they're fake. Early investigation into those parts revealed that they were normal earthly materials. But Linda Moulton Howe didn't like that answer. She couldn't sell it. So she kept getting guys to look at it until somebody told her that those things were kind of strange and gave her a reason to claim, oh, it's definitely alien technology. Ridiculous. They knew, I believe they knew that those were normal earthly materials. Furthermore, the public's trust in organizations claiming to pursue scientific discovery is eroded when promises are not kept and financial transparency is lacking. This erosion of trust is detrimental to the broader scientific community and undermines genuine efforts to explore the unknown. Every time you hear somebody say all this stuff is fake, it's because of people like Lue Elizondo. It's because of people like Dave Grush. It's because of people like Garry Nolan and Christopher Mellon and Ross Coulthard and others who constantly get caught being involved in completely and totally fake stories. Finally, I think there should be a call for accountability. These people keep standing up organizations asking for the public's money, saying we should demand the truth. Yet they don't want to demand the truth. But tonight I'm going to demand some truth. So here's what I demand. Every single person that interviews Lue Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, or Garry Nolan about this new organization should ask them first, they should demand the truth. Before you guys take another penny from the UFO community, especially, you've already extracted millions from the UFO community. Where is the millions of dollars from To the Stars Academy? Where did all of that money you were already given, the millions, go? Where is that money before you shamelessly stand up and expect people to donate more money to you clowns who allegedly or apparently already blew through millions of dollars of public investment money, while simultaneously, apparently or allegedly, lying to investors? There should be a call for accountability. There should be a demand for truth. But here is the problem. The UFO and alien lie works because people choose to participate in bullshit. People choose to participate in bullshit. The truth, this is a famous Terence McKenna quote. I even tweeted it earlier so that I would be sure to get it correct. There is a famous quote that I think is very important in this discussion. And it speaks to why the UFO lie works. And that is this, my friends. And this is Terence McKenna. The truth does not require your participation in order to exist, but bullshit does. So everybody that pushed the false UFO threat narrative of Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, who, by the way, Danny Sheehan said they pushed a false narrative to lawmakers, and they knew it was a false narrative. Everybody that participated in that had to participate in that bullshit. The truth wouldn't have required people's participation. And everybody who interviews Lue Elizondo and doesn't say, wait a minute, the Pentagon said you never ran a real UFO program, Lue. Wait a minute, Arrow concluded you never ran a real Pentagon UFO program, that it was a hobby, Lue. But nobody does that. Nobody that interviews Lue Elizondo has ever pressed him and pushed him on these revelations from the Pentagon that he ran a Pentagon UFO program only in the land of make-believe. And now he's marketing a book with that lie. And now he's soliciting public money for the second time in recent years, again, based on the lie that he ran, the bullshit that he ran a Pentagon UFO program. He never did. This is crazy. It's like living These people live in a fake alternate reality somehow. So back to this point, every single one of you dumb dickhead UFO circle jerking scumbags that interviewed Lue Elizondo and did not press him on these issues, did not say, where's the TTSA money, Lue? Before you beg for money for a new book, before you beg for money for your for-profit UFO related enterprises, before you beg for money for a new UFO nonprofit organization, where's the millions of dollars you and your buddies took from the public with TTSA? Where's the money, Lue? But nobody did that because, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. That's another way the UFO lie works. Lue Elizondo, intellectual weakling and coward that he is, whose fake talking points are so weak, so trivial, they cannot withstand debate. He wouldn't go on a real show where somebody actually knew that he lied to everybody in that New York Times article, that he allegedly or apparently lied to investors when soliciting public investment money for To the Stars Academy, that he lied in podcasts, that he lied at public speaking engagements. He wouldn't go on a show that knew that and would call him on his bullshit. And those few of us who knew the truth, we said, we will not participate in Lue Elizondo's bullshit. And because we wouldn't participate in the lie, we did not get that interview. He would refuse to do anyone's show that he knew would press him on these issues. And every one of you is guilty. Anyone who ever interviewed Lue Elizondo and did not demand to know where the To the Stars Academy money went was participating in bullshit. Everyone who interviewed Lue Elizondo and didn't show him those Pentagon press releases, show him the proof that he lied to the New York Times, lied apparently to investors in To the Stars Academy. Everyone that interviewed him and didn't press him on the fact that he never ran a real Pentagon UFO program and lied about that was participating in bullshit. I will not participate in bullshit. Do you know why? The truth does not require my participation. The truth is the truth, Lue Elizondo, you coward. Why don't you answer for what happened to the To the Stars Academy money? And if you think you're going to get away with that and just roll on and collect more money from the gullible public who isn't aware that you pulled this shit before while lying about your role in the Pentagon, think again. Think again. People are getting sick of this shit. I know I am, and I know you should be too. Lue Elizondo wants you to demand the truth from everyone but him. And I'm fine. Let's demand the truth. We want the truth, Lue Elizondo. What happened to the millions of dollars in To the Stars Academy? Where did the money go? Now, previously, Jeremy McGowan claimed that Lue Elizondo told him that Tom DeLonge wasted the money and that Lue Elizondo threw Tom DeLonge under the bus. And that may have been his reason for the departure. Lue Elizondo didn't get enough of those millions of dollars. By the way, demand the truth. Here's another thing we should demand the truth from Lue Elizondo. How much money did you make from To the Stars Academy? It's a fair question. And I love how people say he's not here for profit. Oh boy, do I have a bridge to sell you. Lue Elizondo's not here for profit? Then explain this to me, you Lue Elizondo fans. I almost used the DD thing again. I'm going to try to be as fair as I can. And I want to thank Steve Long. One of my threads of research that I didn't get to, and Steve Long, he's been a previous guest here, great researcher. One of my threads of research was to look up just how many organizations Lue Elizondo has stood up or been a part of or set up in order to profit from UFOs or non-profit from UFOs. And here's the list. So for you people who say, oh, he's not here for profit. Okay. Lue Elizondo Companies, To the Stars Academy, 2017, And we're detailing that now. Then there was Skyfort with Sean Cahill, registered in Wyoming on April 15th, 2021. And it was dissolved 12 months later in April of 2022. That I believe was a for-profit business, a failed one, I guess, at that. And then we have Phenom AI Non, which was registered in Sheridan, Wyoming on May 28th, 2021. Registered agent is Cloud Peak Law, LLC. Then there's another for-profit company around UFOs and aliens, I believe, called Disco Volante, which is weird because there's a famous watch called a Disco Volante. It also happens to be the name of a Mr. Bungle album, which is weird, but it is what it is. And that was registered in Wyoming on July of 2022. And now we have the latest, the UAP Disclosure Fund, which was filed May 1st, 2024 in San Francisco, California, filing number 621419. And the registered agent is one of its members, Juan Fung, who operates from 166 Geary Street. Well, the address is not important. Then, of course, there was another filing of Disco Volante on July 13th, 2022. And the company has one contact of record. The contact is Lue Elizondo, who's apparently from Buffalo, Wyoming. And Steve Long kindly sent me this information, so I want to thank him. And he says, Disco Volante, I never got to the bottom of. Don't remember how that one came up or if it's positively Lou. So another researcher told me they believe that it is. So if we're incorrect about that, we'd be happy to correct the record. So why does somebody that's not here for money need so many companies around UFOs and aliens? If he's not here for money, he wouldn't need one company, let alone 5 of them. If he's not here for money, he wouldn't need to be on his second go-round of soliciting the public for money. Would he? Would he need to do that if he wasn't here for money? And I've heard a lot of people defending them because they issued a statement saying that their UAP board members would not be compensated. So this is a volunteer effort. But as we've seen, just because somebody's not given a salary while working with or for a nonprofit, it's interesting. And by the way, I'm still getting people adding me about a certain situation. Yeah, still blocked. I don't even want to talk about that situation today. I have to stay focused on tonight's presentation. So the point I was making is when people try to defend Lue Elizondo and say he's not here for money, then I need them to explain to me why he's setting up so many UFO and alien related organizations or UAP related organizations, and why he's on his second go round of soliciting money. And by the way, back to the money where their mouth is Lue Elizondo going to donate the proceeds of his book to this new organization? Is Matt Ford going to donate the proceeds of his YouTube channel? And by the way, boy, we've got a problem with their board of directors. This is where these people always shoot themselves in the foot. I just can't believe it sometimes how much they shoot themselves in the foot. And there's some real problems with these people that are on this UAP disclosure organization now. Let me share the graphic again, just so that we understand who we're speaking about. And by the way, demanding the truth is important. So I also think that we should demand the truth from every member of this new organization and ask them if they know. You don't have to just ask Lue Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, or Garry Nolan about the TTSA money. I think you can ask any member of this new organization they're a part of about the TTSA money. Like, for example, here, I'm just going to show you who's involved. I'd like to interview Kirk McDonald from the advisory board of the UAP Disclosure Fund. And I'd like to know if he knows that Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon collected millions of dollars and promised everybody a spaceship before. I'd like to interview Juan Fung and ask him if he knows that Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon essentially lied to investors or allegedly lied to investors. I'd like to know if Juan Fung knows that the government has denied that Lue Elizondo ever ran a real Pentagon UFO program. And of course, these questions can all be asked to the other people, but good luck asking Matt Ford. I think he'd be hard pressed to get his tongue out of Lue Elizondo's asshole long enough to answer a question, right? And that's another thing. Great, Matt Ford, who has been the mouthpiece of the UFO propaganda coming from the UFO grift squad, it gets rewarded with this, right? He's probably glowing. He's going to hang out with his UFO grifter buddies. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that I had it slow. So interesting. And I don't know this other person, this woman. I think she's just a financial professional, and that's probably, I looked her up on LinkedIn. She appears to be like a financial and management professional. Maybe that's why she's included. But I'd like to know if she knows that she's in an organization with two people that promised people spaceships, collected millions of dollars, and never delivered on any of those promises, right? And let's get into the problematic Matt Ford. This is where these people always shoot themselves in the foot. I'm just going to show you some tweets from Matt Ford. Now, if you're a public organization and you're trying to get the public to donate money to you, it's probably not a good idea to alienate 50% of the public. But by Matt Ford's inclusion in this, they've alienated anybody that's a Republican. That's right. Matt Ford is sort of a big-time libtard. I'm just going to say that. I'm sorry. And by the way, I'm not political. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm a political independent. I don't do politics at all, but that term applies to him. Because before UFOs, he spent every waking moment of his day attacking Republicans and Donald Trump with his political action organization incredibly called Stand for Better, which is a real riot. But I'm going to share my screen once again and show you why Matt Ford's inclusion in this organization is extremely problematic. At the very least, extremely problematic. This is how these people shoot themselves in the foot. Who is going to donate to an organization being run by a man who spends, I don't know, what does he spend? Half of his time just trashing Donald Trump and Republicans. This is all him trashing Donald Trump and Republicans, which makes no sense because some of the allies of this organization are Republicans like Anna Paulina Luna and Tim Burchett. More and more, he's just attacking Republicans constantly. So this organization, by their inclusion of this clown, Matt Ford, who is their UFO propaganda mouthpiece, have just alienated half of the public. And listen, if this guy was just like, once in a while posted a funny Trump meme or something and aligned with being a Democrat, I wouldn't care. He's literally an anti-Republican, anti-Trump operative running and he's an anti-Trump, anti-Republican operative running propaganda against Trump and the Republicans. And by the way, I'm not defending Trump or the Republicans. I don't care about politics. I'm just stating a fact that by including this clown in your organization, you pretty much are alienating half of the donating public. So good luck. Anybody that's a Republican donating to this organization should know that this guy's tweeting, put Trump in jail and all that. And regardless of what I think about that, it's not a good look for a public charity to have a guy that spends all this time attacking Donald Trump on their organization. So if you like Trump, basically they're telling you that you're not welcome to be a part of their UAP disclosure movement because Trump belongs in jail, according to their director of strategy. What a clown show! This is a clown show. But wait, there's more. Yeah, Matt Ford, this is just crazy. The fact that he spends this much time. And by the way, any of you donors that are anti-Biden, you're also not welcome. Triggered MAGA with his Biden speech. What Biden said about the democracy. Yeah, so he's a big Biden supporter. So, and a big Trump basher. So his inclusion in this organization is extremely problematic, if you ask me. He spent all this time attacking Republicans. I think that was his full-time job. He can correct me if I'm wrong. It's his full-time job to bash Donald Trump and Republicans all day long. But hey, his inclusion in an organization that is begging for public money is not a problem. Yeah, here he is bashing Trump again. Here he is bashing, talking about how great Biden is. Yeah, Dark Beto. Breaking news on cinema. MAGA budget disaster. Yeah, so this is extremely problematic for this organization to include a literal political hack who made a career out of trashing all the Republicans and Donald Trump. And by the way, regardless of whether you're a Trump supporter or a Trump hater, this is problematic for a public organization that is soliciting funds. And I find it especially funny because I'm sure some of the other people on that board are really Trumpers. It's bizarre. I don't know what. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I have to find my notes here. You'll have to forgive me. Oh, 1 second, friends. I have a set order to present things here in. Yeah, so we talked about demanding the truth. They want everybody to demand the truth. And I agree. Let's demand the truth about Elizondo's business dealings. Remember, I talked about all of those UAP, UFO organizations that he set up? Shouldn't we all demand the truth and demand to know exactly how much money he's made from UFOs since 2017? After all, he's claiming he's broke and living in a trailer. Did he lie about that? He claimed he hasn't made any money. He got television show deals, book deals. It's bizarre. It's clown world. I don't make any money. Just like Corbell claimed he didn't make any money from UFOs. Just showed up to a UFO convention in a brand new Tesla, right? Not just a brand new Tesla, a brand new Tesla Cybertruck. They're like $150,000. But hey, he didn't make any money from UFOs. I agree. Let's demand the truth about Lue Elizondo and all of his business dealings. Let's demand the truth about how much money he made with To the Stars Academy. Let's demand about all the truth about what he made from Skyfort and all these other organizations that he stood up around UFOs and aliens. Speaking of alienating people, I just want to make sure that we also recognize, talk about alienating your donator base. Lue Elizondo and others are closely associated with Tim Burchett. Which you gotta love this. Tim Burchett is tweeting that he thinks that the FBI should just be dismantled and put back together again because there were some FBI agents marching in a gay pride parade. Tim Burchett basically gay bashes people on Twitter. And that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it. So these people at the UAP Disclosure Fund have a close association. Tim Burchett is one of their big supporters and allies, and he's basically trashing gay people all over his Twitter. So far we've alienated every Republican from donating to the UAP Disclosure Fund, possibly, with the inclusion of a political hack operative, Matt Ford, who spent years trashing Trump and the Republicans. We're going to alienate gay people by hanging out and having support from a guy who trashes gay people constantly. It's amazing. And then, of course, let's not forget, we haven't alienated enough people from our UAP disclosure organization. So let's make sure that we also remember that one of our board members is hanging out with Holocaust denying Nazis at UFO conventions. So we can alienate all the Jewish people that might. And by the way, I'm just going to put this out there. It's very troubling to me that these so-called experts don't realize the optics. You've got one board member who's hanging out with Holocaust-denying Nazis at UFO conventions. You've got a close supporter, Tim Burchett, who's bashing gay people and complaining that FBI people are marching in a gay pride parade. The FBI should be dismantled. And you've got a political hack operative who spent years of his life bashing Trump and all the Republicans. Do you see the problem here? That maybe, just maybe, none of these groups, Jewish people, gay people, or Republicans, should donate to your organization because you're dumb enough to put together an organization and not realize the optics of this. Even the appearance of this is slimy. And let's not forget the financial problem of Elizondo, Mellon, and Nolan being involved in what has been called a techno investment scam. Great. I truly can't believe that things have gone this far. But back to Lue Elizondo, also of note is, why should you give money to somebody who gets everything wrong and lies to people? Lue Elizondo apparently lied to the New York Times, apparently lied to TTSA investors about running a real Pentagon UFO program. So I, for one, don't understand. And according to Danny Sheehan, he lied to lawmakers. I'm going to put my fair use banner up here. According to Danny Sheehan, he lied to lawmakers in order to push a narrative that he knew was false. That's also problematic, or it should be problematic, I would think. Why are you giving money for UAP truth to a guy who's apparently lying to people to push false narratives? Great. Here's Danny Sheehan. He later said, this is from Stephen Greenstreet, I remember this documentary. Daniel Sheehan said Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon conned and scared Congress about UFO. What they're saying publicly, they know isn't true. However, Sheehan issued a statement saying his statements were taken out of context by Greer to attack Lue Elizondo and Mellon. I don't know how you could consider that out of context. He made some pretty direct statements. Let's take a listen.
I know from direct conversations with Lou and with Chris that they know that the major military authorities with whom they've had very close communications realize that if in fact the extraterrestrials were hostile in their intent toward us, they could have done anything they wanted to. They can come and go.
Yes, and for those unaware, there's a big feud going on because there's only so many UFO disclosure dollars to go around. And one of the other people that collects more UFO dollars than anybody is Stephen Greer. So it appeared not long ago that Greer and Elizondo were sort of going after each other so that they can control the vast majority of the UFO dollars collected by the true believer crowd, I suppose.
At their pleasure. So that in that regard, they do not constitute a clear and present danger to our national security. But they also know that they're in the habit of getting their funding for all of their entire organizations, et cetera, by flogging a threat. And so that they're inclined to do that because the simple fact is they don't trust the people in Congress.
Yes, and it's pretty clear that Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon have pushed a false UFO threat narrative. And they did so for quite a long time, all through TTSA. Now they're trying to backpedal and claim that it was about drones, not aliens, right? Interesting.
They think the people in Congress are so Pavlovian in that they, in fact, distrust their constituency so much that they have to scare them. And so they say, well, if we're going to be able to justify having hearings about the UFO issue, we're going to have to tell our people that, oh, they're a potential threat to us. And so therefore, they're conning their own constituents. And then they are getting conned by the military-industrial complex because they don't trust them either. And
a lot of conning going on.
Integrity. That as long as people are not trusting each other and they're conning each other, this is dangerous. This is how wars start. This is how people lose control of the narrative of what's going on here. Those of us in the CE5 community, et cetera, need to establish some kind of level of discourse with Lue Elizondo and with Chris Mellon. All they have to do is know that we're obviously sophisticated enough to know that what they're saying publicly, they know isn't true.
They are saying publicly, they know isn't true. So they're pushing a false narrative. And by the way, this is not a single source saying that Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon were consciously and purposefully pushing a false UFO threat narrative. There's also text messages between Lue Elizondo and Jeremy McGowan that Jeremy McGowan has published, which confirm that Lue Elizondo says we have to scare these people into thinking there's a threat in order to get the action that we need, which is extremely problematic. The fact that Lue Elizondo is soliciting public money while having private text communications with other people saying we need to lie to these lawmakers in order to get them to do the right thing. We need to push a false threat UFO narrative in order to get action. And this is, of course, confirmed by Danny Sheehan. And there's other sources that confirm Lue Elizondo apparently pushed a false threat narrative. I think that's very problematic that this guy's out here collecting money and is pushing a completely and totally false narrative. Now, on to one other false narrative. Lue Elizondo recently released a rambling, to me, sound like a paranoid schizophrenic sort of public statement claiming that he was under threat. And Danny Sheehan in the Spaces said that that was in relation to somebody got murdered. Well, they didn't get murdered. They killed themselves. But at first, people thought they got murdered, and they had knowledge of UAP. So Lue Elizondo thought anybody with knowledge of UAP is under threat. Others in the UFO community have used the false I'm under threat narrative, I believe, as a psychological tactic to sell their followers on the belief that their information is so important that they're under threat. I don't believe there is any valid threats against Lue Elizondo. Show us a police report. Show us an FBI report. It's certainly, if you're getting death threats, you're reporting them, right? No, apparently, and this is, again, according to Danny Sheehan. Boy, I bet you they love Danny Sheehan shooting his mouth off all the time. In the Spaces, Danny Sheehan said that Lue Elizondo jumped the gun. He was concerned. It's better be safe than sorry, though. He might be under threat because somebody was murdered. But it turns out nobody was murdered. And people in that Spaces asked Danny Sheehan, can you tell us who this person is that got murdered or suicided themselves? No, I can't. I'm not going to tell you that. So it's always this game of cat and mouse. Ooh, I have secret information, but I'm not going to tell you. And by the way, Danny Sheehan's another person with an organization begging for UFO dollars, right? He's got his foundation, and he's selling $16,000 worthless, unaccredited PhDs in UFO studies or UAP studies or whatever. And then, of course, Garry Nolan has the Soul Foundation where they're begging for money. Everybody's begging for money for UFO dollars. And they all demand the truth. Great. Danny Sheehan, how much money have you collected with your organization? Garry Nolan, how much money have you collected with your organization? Garry Nolan, how much money did you make with Ross Coulthart lying and saying that you two had conclusive proof of alien technology? How much money did you make lying? Demand the truth. I demand to know how much money Garry Nolan got paid for lying his ass off with Ross Coulthart lying his ass off. It's wonderful. Now, along with all the bad news, there is some good news, because apparently some people are so tired of the UFO con squad that people are filing complaints related to possible consumer fraud. You know, you're not, to my knowledge and understanding, you're not allowed to just lie to people and take their money on false pretenses. But that is exactly what happens here in the UFO community on an almost daily basis, and no one is ever held to account. Maybe, just maybe, some people may be held to account. And I foresee that there's going to be a day of reckoning here. Now, I don't know if that's true. That's my speculation. But I think there's going to be a day of reckoning here, because the grift's gone too far. You have done grifted too far, right? You know, if you kept it to maybe like one major multi-million-dollar scam where you collected millions and did whatever you did with it, maybe you'd get away with it. But these people are on the new stuff, and they haven't explained, you know, really, even if you're big supporters of these people, isn't it fair to say, Christopher Mellon and Lue Elizondo, you guys collected millions of dollars with To the Stars Academy, and you promised us a spaceship, and you said you had alien spaceship parts, and you were going to release all the science on that, and it would revolutionize things. And where's the money? What did you do with the money? And how much were each of you paid out of that money when all the investors to TTSA apparently got fucked out of every penny? Isn't it fair? If all the investors got screwed out of every single penny of those millions of dollars collected, and Lue Elizondo got paid, and other people in TTSA got paid, and Lue Elizondo got a TV show deal out of that, isn't it fair to say maybe, just maybe, you should be ashamed of yourself for setting up yet another organization and begging for UFO dollars? How much is enough? They've already collected millions with TTSA. What if they need to collect millions more with this new organization? And what are they doing with all the money? Where did it go? It's like one big black hole of UFO dollars. And by the way, the video that we just played was played under fair use. We used it to educate the public. We critiqued the video. We're discussing the video and its implications in this around this new organization being set up to collect UFO dollars. So let me know what you think in the questions. Let me know what you think in the comments. Is this just one more big money grab? And should these people have to explain what happened to the last bunch of money from the last big money grab? And speaking of money, we want to take a moment to thank you, kind and generous benefactors. For those unaware, we are a viewer-supported show, and we depend on our audience to keep us honest. I do not sell out to the UFO grift squad. And boy, do I could have a whole lot of shit to say about you UFO circle jerkers. Remember, the truth does not require your participation, but bullshit requires your full participation. And many of you UFO circle jerker shows fully participated in all of this bullshit. They helped Lue Elizondo sell his lies. But don't worry, they got to crack off a piece of the UFO money pie and put it in their own pockets. And that's why they kept their mouths shut. And that's why they participated in a lie, because they got paid to participate in a lie. The truth doesn't pay. The truth is boring. It's only through this participation in lies like Lue Elizondo's lies, Garry Nolan's lies, Christopher Mellon's, that these people profit. So certainly we should at least be fair and recognize that many of these people participating in these lies, and I'm talking to every one of you UFO circle jerkers who didn't have the balls to ask Lue Elizondo real questions. What did he do? 300 podcasts? Not one of you clowns had the balls to ask real questions? Well, one guy did, but then that didn't go so well, right? We all know that story, right? As soon as you ask one hard question, you lose access. Now you're a traitor to disclosure. And that's how that cookie crumbled. We want to thank you, kind and generous benefactors, while we have the chance. Thank you, Thomas Robinson, for a £1.99 super sticker. Longtime show supporter, thank you very much for your kindness, generosity, and support. We want to thank Mike Larry, who's the MVP, by the way, of gifted memberships. If you haven't already, subscribe. You got to subscribe to our channel, because Mike Larry has gifted like hundreds of memberships. I've lost track of how many hundreds of memberships Mike Larry has gifted our channel here. And for those unaware, if somebody gifts free memberships, they get distributed randomly by some kind of YouTube AI algorithm to people who are subscribed to our channel but have not yet thrown the $5 in to become a YouTube channel member. So if you haven't already, there may be free memberships waiting. I don't know how this works exactly. Please do smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You'll know about all of our new shows and be notified when we go live here. Thank you, Mike Larry, for all your kindness, generosity, and support. I really, truly appreciate it. Can't thank you enough. And then we have Thomas Robinson who's also a member. Thanks for being a member, and thank Mike Larry for being a member, and thank Thomas Robinson for being a member. It's so funny to look in the live chat, and almost everybody in there is a live member, is a YouTube channel member. Thomas Robinson with a kind and generous £5 super sticker. Then we've got Lord Ludicrous, who's also a member. Thank you. Longtime show supporter. Lord Ludicrous, you've been here forever. You like came with the set, right? Thank you for being here and always being supportive. Lord Ludicrous, who's a member, threw in an additional $4.99 super chat, and it says, "This is an amazing show that pushes the truth and facts over pushing a narrative." Adavane, love the show. Keep the facts rolling. P.S. Cabin is looking great. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we want to thank Lord Ludicrous for a kind and generous $1.99. Sorry for my misspellings in the last super chat. You didn't need to pay $2 to do that, but thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we have Mike Larry once again saying Cambion's got his finger on the pulse. Well, we thank you so much, Mike Larry, big show supporter, the MVP, along with a few other people who I also thank tremendously, who have been really so generous, it's ridiculous, with these gifted memberships. I can't believe all the members that I see. Used to be, you'd look in the live chat and every 5th or 10th person is a member. Look in the live chat. If you see the member badge, they're a member. And these people have done amazing things to help us. And we want to thank each and every one of you guys for helping us to praise the cash. Here's a big praise the cash thank you to all of you.
Praise the cash. 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 Praise the cash.
All right. We thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support. I'm on a little bit of a tight schedule tonight due to some commitments that I have. Yes, Operation Shutdown says members everywhere. Okay, so I'm on. I feel like I'm in a rush, but I'm going to try to calm down and just take a moment. We'll take a breath. And I also wanted to talk, though, one more part of our presentation tonight, which is extremely important. And that is especially because of some recent controversy. And I'm going to speak as briefly and as broadly as I can about some recent controversy. And it's so funny because, I don't know, listen, I came from the mean streets of Philadelphia where I learned that you don't get involved in a dispute between two other men unless you absolutely positively have to. But that's not the UFO world. In the UFO world, if you think you can gain some points, right, by attacking me with the UFO celebrity con squad that you want to get to be guests on your show, then you attack me. And to be fair, I started it, attacking a certain UFO podcast, calling them trash. And I'm here to tell you that if you actively are making money and promoting a hoax involving dead babies that are dug up, ripped apart, and glued back together to look like aliens, then you are trash. And I stand by my statements. And by the way, another show host had to interject himself into that situation and sort of make fun of the way that I tweeted something, which was an inside joke he didn't even know anything about or understand. And to be clear, what happened was the first UFO trash podcast that I trashed for promoting the alien mummy hoax bullshit, among other things. Of course, they promote every UFO scammer like Ross Coulthard and everybody else selling fake stories. So yes, I said they're trash and I stand by it. But I said something to a mutual friend and he said, you should have him on your show for a mutual conversation. And I said to our mutual friend, what are we going to do? Have a mutual conversation about how he constantly promotes and profits from UFO scumbag whores? And my friend laughed like hell. And he said, that sounds pretty funny. That sounds like a show title, as a joke. And I tweeted exactly or something like that. Then, of course, show host number 2, who also promoted and profited from the same alien mummy scam hoax and used clickbait titles like the alien mummies are real, right? He's trash too. But so it gets confusing because I'm trying to just get past it. So the person who interjected themselves, who also runs a garbage peddling clickbait factory and sells people bullshit and actively participates in bullshit. By the way, he profited from Lue Elizondo and never told his audience the truth about Lue Elizondo's non-involvement in any government UFO program or the various fake stories that Lue Elizondo has promoted. He profited from. It's the lie by omission. That's how the UFO circle jerk scam works with some of these garbage peddling clickbait huckster trash promoters. And by the way, that second show host, I think he thought he'd get some points, calling me out. Oh, you're a bully, Stephen, and you should take me on. And I said, great, let's do it on your show and let's do it live so you can't edit what I will tell your audience. He instantly blocked me with excuses. Then he went to a safe space on a show and lied to his audience, lied through his teeth and said, I never replied to him. Bullshit. Anybody can see the tweet thread and see that I replied to you. You lied to your audience. At least correct the record. But I decided in a rare moment, I was taking a walk in the woods this weekend when all of this was taking place. I decided in a rare moment of, I'm going to call it mercy. Let no man say I am not merciful. Especially the second show host who interjected himself in a dispute he knows nothing about. And maybe when he hears why I called the first UFO circle jerk host trash, right? Maybe certain people should ask about money collected for children's charities and where it went. Maybe that's why I was calling him trash. Besides promoting trash, garbage, fake UFO and alien stories for money, there's been some recent rumors and allegations made about money collected for children's charities and how it may not have ended up where it was supposed to go. And that show host doesn't want to talk about it. I asked him directly on Twitter, no replies, crickets. So maybe don't interject yourself if you don't know why I'm calling another person trash. But in a rare moment of mercy, I decided that should I want to dedicate the time, energy, and attention, I could eviscerate, destroy, and humiliate both of those people. I could pick apart their shows and educate their audiences about all the times that those two clowns lied to sell a fake story and fill their pocket with ill-gotten gains. And let's be clear, a lie by omission is still a lie. But I decided to take pity on some of these people because truly, let's just do a thought experiment. Imagine that you have to lie to people every day of your life in order to eat. I'm going to say that one more time. Imagine if you have to lie to people every day of your life in order to earn enough money to survive or eat. That's a hellish existence that I wouldn't wish on anybody. So instead of humiliating them, and let's be clear, I could humiliate both of them. I could go through and systematically show how they promoted provably fake stories for money, did the lie by omission cosmic con shuffle, right? Oh, the alien mummies are real, says Jaime Maussan's hoax doctors that he hired. And let's just leave out that Jaime Maussan has been involved in 50, count them, 50 or more alien and UFO hoaxes. And back to the part about feeling sorry for these people. If you are a despicable enough individual that has to lie to people every day of your life to eat, and let's be clear, lying by omission is still lying. So showing people Jaime Maussan, people that work for Jaime Maussan said those alien mummies are real, is a lie by omission. You could go to Skeptical Inquirer and see a history of Jaime Maussan. He used a dead monkey baby once to hoax an alien. He used a dead child mummy to hoax an alien. And these latest are the worst because they're literally digging up dead people, ripping apart their bodies and putting them back together with plaster, pretending that they're alien mummies. If you need to promote that lie to eat, then you're a piece of shit. And I feel so sorry for you that you have to do that. And I always say this to those two clowns that are promoting that. Can I go dig up your dead grandma and rip her body apart and glue grandma back together and make it look like an alien and then go make money off of that? Would you be okay with that? And if you're not okay with me digging up your dead grandma and doing it, then why are you okay with Jaime Maussan and his scumbag friends doing that? You should all be ashamed of yourselves. And somebody calling me a bully for pointing out these facts, this truth, the evidence are overwhelming that those are glued together dead bodies, including dead babies, you assholes. You're promoting a fake story where somebody had to dig a dead baby out of the ground, rip its body apart, desecrate it, and glue it back together to look like an alien. And you're calling me a mummy for pointing that out? You are a piece of shit if you promoted that. I said it. I stand by that statement. And unless you're willing to tell me where your grandmother is buried so I can do that to your family members, you should be ashamed of yourself and apologize to your audiences immediately. And don't you love it that people are calling me a bully? The same people calling me a bully are actively promoting Lue Elizondo, who's friends with on Twitter with King Milkfart and all of the UFO hate group people that are actively doxing people, threatening people, harassing people. Hey, you dumb dickheads that are calling me a bully. Were you aware that UFO hate group that Lue Elizondo apparently follows on Twitter, some of those people, never issued any statement disowning them or saying he doesn't agree with their tactics? They told a gay man to put a gun in his mouth and blow his brains out. They harassed a terminally ill man for running spaces critical of Lue Elizondo. They doxed somebody's grandmother. They accused somebody of sexual violence against their own children. They called child protective services on people. But you're calling me a bully because I said that anybody that promotes an alien mummy scam based on ripping apart dead babies and putting them back together is trash. I'm the bully here? No, I don't think so. So in a rare moment of mercy, I have decided to turn the page. Mostly, people don't know this about me. Cards on the table, I have a very strange and debilitating sometimes form of ADD. And I either can't concentrate on things to get anything done for periods of time, or I become incredibly hyper-focused on things and get lots of things done. And what I will say to both of those UFO garbage peddling trash UFO show hosts, you clickbait garbage peddling assholes, is God help you. God help you if I become hyper-focused on proving what you do. God help you. And may God, if that happens, you don't want that to happen. You can't not withstand that. You cannot handle it. It's not my intention to spend months of my life proving what a garbage peddler you are. But there have been times that I've done that when people have come after me for expressing my belief that people that promote garbage like that are trash. I don't really want to extend the time and energy. Those people aren't worth it. Because you see, those people's shows, as far as research and vetting skills are about as deep as a pie pan. We have a proven track record here of doing extensive, incredible, deep dive research, the likes of which no one does. So in a rare moment of mercy, I decided I'm going to just turn the page. And you can call me a bully. You can lie about me on your show. You can block me on Twitter and then continue to trash me like an intellectual weakling, coward pussy. Because listen, if you block somebody on Twitter and then you keep trashing them so that they cannot respond, then you're an intellectual weakling and a coward and a pussy. And I'll pray for you that you get over your pussiness, right? That's a pussy. That is a bitch move. You are a bitch if you block somebody and continue to trash them because they can't respond. You're also a bitch if you talk shit on somebody on your show and don't allow them to come on and respond. But I know what it is. If this person had allowed me on their show to say my piece, he would be in trouble with the UFO Con Squad, and he'd have problems getting them on as guests. It's all a game, and I choose not to play. And that's kind of where I'm at and where I find myself. But I will say, let no man say I am without mercy. Let no man say I'm without mercy, because I could go scorched earth on both of those people. I could do incredible damage, including to their wallet, if I chose to. But the better man in me thinks that my work speaks for itself, and so does theirs. And that's where I'm at, and that's where we find ourselves. So I'm going to take comments and questions from the live chat. We'll also check in with our PayPal pledgers. For those unaware, we also accept PayPal pledges. Just be sure to add a note and give us your chat room user ID. It really, really does help. Oh, I need a code. Don't you love PayPal sometimes? I don't know why that is all of a sudden. You'll have to bear with me one moment. In the meantime, I'll be taking comments and questions from the live chat, but please put your comments and questions in all capital letters. It really does help. And we'll see if we can't. The reason that these challenges, just so everybody is aware, I'm visually impaired. So when they go, oh, you've got to enter a code, I go, oh, come on. Because I have trouble reading my phone screen. And then, sometimes I got to do it 3 times. Let's see here. Jeez, God. Yeah, that's what's happening. I'm having trouble reading the phone screen to get the code, to put it in. I am who I said I am. I think I got it. Oh, geez. 1 second. No, I got it. All right. So questions and comments for me, please put them in all capital letters. I got a little bit more time to share. We want to take a moment to thank Maria for a kind and generous $50 PayPal pledge. Very, very generous of you. No message, just from Maria with love. Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we want to thank Initials BT for a kind and generous $25 PayPal pledge, who says, keep bringing us the truth, never sell out. Thank you for all you do. Well, that's very kind and sweet of you. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We'll do another one of those Praise the Cash. Thank you, PayPal pledgers, and also you Patreon supporters, and all you new channel members, even you freeloaders. And listen, I realize a lot of you got a free membership, but there's tons of extra goodies in the membership section, and I'm going to start doing one extra members and Patreon video a week. Since there's so many of you new members, we want to be sure to give you your money's worth and hopefully convince you that it's worth continuing after you're gifted. For those unaware, if somebody gives you a membership, it's only for the month. And in order to continue being a member, you got to throw in the $5, which I would appreciate, because that helps us to praise the cash and stay fiercely independent and not sell out to these UFO profiteering whores. Thank you all. You Patreon supporters, super chatters, YouTube channel members, Twitch subscribers, everybody throwing a couple of bucks in our hat. Thanks for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, 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 praise you.
All right. So I have a little more time to share. We will take some questions. Yeah. Admiral Rascal says, will you go scorched earth on Lue and Ross? I basically have. I've dedicated a lot of time to try to educate people. Listen, by the way, I just want to put this out there. If people can make a 12-hour video about all of your shady business dealings or all the times you lied to sell a fake story, if I can reasonably put together a 12-hour expose about that, that should be all you need to convince yourself. We've already done a 12-hour expose on all of Ross Coulthard's fake stories. And this weekend, we've got a 12-hour expose about all of Lue Elizondo's fakery. This weekend, probably this Saturday night. I think it's topical, and we like to educate people. So, like, if somebody is holding their hand up saying, donate to my organization, well, we'll gather our evidence and put together a 12-hour video that may educate people before they give money to people that they likely shouldn't, in my view. Arlene Atkins-Zell says, I don't see well enough to use a phone for anything other than calls. I'm getting there. Yeah. Good. Lou Review says, I think I have to show you what I have before you take that evisceration off the table. Well, if the evidence is there, I will put it right back on the table, and I will go scorched earth, Lou Reviews, because if the allegations are true, by the way, just so everybody's clear, and thank you, Lou Reviews, just so everybody is clear, there's some allegations being made against a certain show and their co-host, I believe, right? That somebody, and I'm going to be very fair here, allegedly or apparently collected a whole lot of money for children's charities. And then the money for the children's charities never showed up to the children's charities, but they certainly collected money for children's charities. So maybe, just maybe, next time some dumb dickhead garbage bait clickbait huckster wants to get involved with and claim I'm a bully for calling somebody trash, they should know why I called them trash. Because certainly if you claim to be raising money for children's charities and then the money for the children's charity never made it to the children's charity, then you are trash. Yes. Kimmy, 77. Did you ever receive a response from authorities regarding how these dishonest scams are legal? Well, I've made inquiries to the Securities and Exchange Commission, but unfortunately, they would not comment on whether there was an ongoing investigation. They won't even tell you if they're investigating a certain situation. It is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, Lou, that's why I decided to have mercy. Because the second show host who decided to jump in and try to get points for calling me a bully doesn't know that one of the big reasons I was calling that other show trash is because they may be stealing from children's charities. Maybe. I hear somebody's on the case, though, Lou, and we'll find out the truth, right? Surely stealing charity money is illegal. It certainly is in the UK. Well, that's good, because that's exactly where it took place, or may have allegedly taken place, Elmer, and we'll see. These people need to go to jail. That pisses me off. Well, it's the height of scumbaggery to collect money for children's charities and then not give the money to the children's charities. And by the way, I asked that show host right on Twitter, where's the money? No crickets. He doesn't want to talk about the money for the children's charities. And in fairness, if they did give the money, I'll apologize and say, hey, they didn't do anything wrong. It was just rumors. But listen, all I know is I run a show. Lou runs a show. Lou Reviews runs a show. He's here in our live audience. Lou, if somebody was saying that you took money from a children's charity that didn't belong to you, wouldn't you make a public statement about that situation immediately? I asked that podcast about UFOs. I asked them right on Twitter. They didn't reply to that request for what happened to the money. It's great. Did you phone Art Bell once? Yes, I did, but I never got on the air with him once. I phoned a bunch of different times trying to get through. And I guess one of the reasons I never got through is because I didn't have a really cool story to share. I called and said I wanted to ask him questions about different cases that he covered in the past. And I stood on hold sometimes, and then they would just knock me off. As I recall, I was very young when I was listening to that. Send your evidence directly to the appropriate UK police force. They will certainly act. I hope so. Lou Review says, I would certainly make a public statement if it was coming from the same sources. Yeah. Yeah. The grifters will do anything for $1. You know that, Steve. Yeah. The charities have already reached out, says Elmer Boylehouse. Yeah, and there may be somebody forwarded to the fraud department somewhere. So it's not looking good for that UFO show that I called trash. And by the way, if it turns out that they did indeed steal from children's charities, then I double down in standing by my statement that those people are trash. You have to be trash to steal from children. You know, I mean, when I think of that, I just think of, you know what I think of? I think of somebody walking down the street and there's a little kid, maybe like 4 or 5, like licking an ice cream cone, and you just go and grab the ice cream cone. Go, get out of here, little boy. I'm going to eat it. Yeah. You know, like stealing from children. How low can it go? Yes, anybody attend Contact in the Desert. Grifters galore. I saw Lou did a show. I caught some of the second part of it. I'm going to listen to the first part of it. And you got to love the titles. There's a lot of creativity going into titles, right? The title of my show tonight is TTSA 2, Cosmic Con Boogaloo. And I have to check on Twitter because I remember thinking, man, that's a great title. I wish I would have thought of that. And Lou Reviews did a show on the Contact in the Desert and the SEU conference. By the way, you got to love a scientific organization that blocks people on Facebook who show them that they're promoting liars and scammers, right? You got to love it. You got to love it. Oh, so he called his show Contact in the Wallet. Oh, I remember I saw that and I said, oh, that's what I wish I would have thought of. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, I just got an email from the person that helps me with merchandise, and we had 0 merchandise sales for May, which I'm not complaining. We had other support, but hey, if you're feeling generous, in the description of this video, you can visit our merchandise store, buy yourself a Praise the Cash shirt, right? 2 of the 4 charities have confirmed the local police have been notified. Wow. Art Levine interviewed Art Bell for MSNBC on Hoax JPL employee who claimed to have the photos of buildings on Mars and was on the lam. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Yeah. Art Levine, by the way, he's on Lou Review's show. Be sure that you check out his show from today. He did an interview there. He's an interesting character, Art Lewis, and he has helped me in innumerable ways, giving me little advice. The downside with Mr. Levine is I feel like he's like a teacher that does really mean the best for you, but he gives you way too much homework. Art's always like, have you read this book? You have to read it, Stephen. And then he hounds me until I read the book. But the one book that he told me I definitely had to read was really great. It's called On Writing Well. And I recommend it to any person, any content creator, writer, blog guy, whatever it is you're doing creatively, script writer, read the book On Writing Well. He was absolutely right. Some of the presentations that I give here are pre-written, and I can see a huge difference since I read that book in the quality of the sort of show scripts. Yeah. He's an interesting guy. Didn't TTSA investors file a lawsuit for fraud? Was there ever any more of that? Well, there apparently was people filing complaints with the SEC. And according to Art Levine's article in the Washington Spectator, they began investigating and then got bogged down by COVID, and one of the investigators died. But they won't now confirm if they picked up the investigation or are investigating it currently. So who knows what happened to that? They may be getting away with it. The statute of limitations is winding down on that, unfortunately. Thomas Robinson says, I tried phoning Art Bell, but chickened out on KFC drunk one time. KFC drunk, I remember that. Most of the time I would go to Taco Bell, though. Complaint against TTSA in 2022. Don't know if action was taken. Yeah, we don't know. We don't really know what happened with that. I'm hopeful that there will be some consequences. You can't just get away with lying to people and promising spaceships to people and then keep the millions of dollars. And now here they are again. 3 of the people that were involved in that are back wanting people to donate, right? I need some donations, right? We all need some donations. AJ says, Carl Nell talk at SALT was a disgrace, claiming 100% certainty of non-human intelligence visitation. Yeah, and then when asked for evidence, he gave the hogwash response. Yeah, I agree. We covered that. And, you know, I love it. Somebody tweeted at me earlier and said, I'll take the word of Carl Nell over yours any day. Where's your resume? Listen, I don't care how impressive your resume is. If you don't have evidence, you're worthless. Carl Nell is worthless. Tim Gallaudet is worthless. And I think that these disclosure people are getting more and more desperate, and they're getting more and more angry at how quickly, you know, they spin up Carl Nell and put him out there. And then quickly we figure out he has no evidence, and he's citing wackadoos that believe all kinds of wackadoo stuff as his proof for why aliens are visiting Earth. This other wackadoo said it. And then they spin up Tim Gallaudet, and we find out that he's taking his kids to psychic mediums because she sees ghosts, and there's aggressive, violent poltergeist in his house, and he's putting his young daughters on poltergeist TV shows for cash, paranormal TV shows. So Tim Gallaudet is about as credible as a crackhead. They're getting pissed because everybody they spin up and push out to try to keep people interested, it instantly falls apart. AJ says, what idiots does he take us for? Yeah. Credentials don't equal credibility. Yeah. And Lord Ludacris says, Carl Nell was found guilty of reprisals against a female whistleblower. Yeah, you gotta love UFO disclosure advocates. Oh yeah, we want total disclosure, and we want transparency, and we want whistleblower protection. And then one of their guys was found guilty of reprisals against a female whistleblower. You gotta love it. Chuck Bam says, I love the Dead Files. Yes, Tim Gallaudet's. Oh, that reminds me. Yeah, I have one more thing to share that I wanted to talk about quickly, which is good because we're just winding down now. If you're just joining us, we're giving you a history lesson in how 3 of the people involved in this latest money grab charity were also involved in previous money grabs, which apparently netted or grossed millions of dollars in public investments, and they never did anything they promised. So if you believe what they're telling you they're going to do now for the new money, I've got a bridge to sell you. But here's one of the people closely tied to this group, and this is despicable. We are calling on the New York Post, says Disclosure Party, to sever all ties with Stephen Greenstreet for his shameless attacks on the family of Rear Admiral Timothy Gallaudet. Please contact them at letters@newyorkpost.com or by visiting this URL. And I replied to this saying, so essentially, you want a guy fired for accurately reporting? That's what they want. They want a guy fired, and I'm not sure if this is the case, but I think so. I think that this person that they want fired has a wife and children. They want him fired for correctly reporting that Tim Gallaudet put his children on paranormal TV shows and believes in ghosts and goblins and poltergeists, and taking his kid to see the Long Island Medium because she sees monsters and ghosts and poltergeists in her closet, instead of taking her children to someone more appropriate, like a child psychiatrist or psychologist. He took her to a paranormal show. And one may ask themselves, did Tim Gallaudet and his family get paid for their participation? So who's exploiting the children? Not the reporter that's simply reporting on it. No, Tim Gallaudet is exploiting his own children for financial gain or fame or whatever else. These people are sickening. And I commented on this. I said, congratulations, you are right now using the same tactics the Scientology cult uses when reporters accurately report on them. And I just want to be sure that people understand, I totally don't think Stephen Greenstreet did anything wrong. Did he report the facts? Sure. Were those facts inconvenient for UFO Grift Squad members and UFO profiteering whores trying to push a false narrative? Yeah. Because they make him look like a wackadoo who exploited his own children for financial gain around the paranormal. Greenstreet did nothing wrong. He accurately reported on Gallaudet's doing that. And for these UFO wackadoos to be saying, hey, and by the way, I contacted the New York Post and said, I really appreciate what a great job Stephen Greenstreet is doing on UFO reporting. No one else is doing a better job. Thank you so much. Please keep him going on that topic and his reporting. And you should too. If all these nutbags are going to send nasty messages about his reporting, send a nice message and support him. He didn't do anything wrong. And these UFO wackadoo cult is now calling for his firing, probably his assassination, right? Because he's an enemy of disclosure. I'm sure Ross Coulthart would want him, beaten and stoned and tarred and feathered and drugged behind a Humvee, right? Because he's an enemy of disclosure. It's so absolutely ridiculous that these people are calling for reporters to get fired for accurately reporting a story. That's the clown world we have found ourselves in now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Bobby McBride says, does she still have the PlayStation game cover on her website? I believe it's behind her paywall, but she changed the text. Last I checked, she changed the text from saying, genuine picture of a gray alien taken on the moon to alleged gray alien picture taken on the moon. William Runner says, Matt Ford needed to be called out, and he was from a few of us. He needs some more, though. Yeah, Matt Ford is another wackadoo. He's making videos claiming that that reporter, Stephen Greenstreet, is attacking this man's family. No, he's accurately reporting, Matt Ford, you Kool-Aid drinking cult member loser. All right. Another enemy of disclosure. Yeah, that's what we have. These people are the enemies of disclosure, don't you know? And if you disagree with them, you're an enemy of disclosure. And if you say somebody is trash for stealing from children's charities, then you're an enemy of disclosure. They should just be allowed to steal from children's charities, right? It's so funny, too. That podcast that allegedly did that apparently or allegedly makes over $150,000 a year on their show. So if that's true, and they still need to steal from children's charities to make ends meet. I don't know what they're doing with all that money, right? Yeah, and of course, the UFO con squad, you know, are calling people bullies. Meanwhile, people are getting doxxed. People's grandmoms are getting doxxed. People are accusing people of sexual violence against their own children because they said something against Lue Elizondo or Garry Nolan or Mellon or one of these, Coulthard or one of these other disclosure boner bros. But I'm a bully because I said that if a show host steals money from children's charities, that show host is trash. Or I said if they promote a story that's a hoax based on ripping apart dead bodies and putting them back together, they're trash. I'm the bully, not the people doxing people, threatening people, intimidating people, harassing people, trying to get people fired from their jobs. Where's that dumb dickhead who called me a bully to call this shit out? Nowhere to be found. He can't speak up because then he'll get ostracized from the UFO Disclosure Boner Bro Society. Coward, weakling, surrounded by cowards and weaklings. It's ridiculous. All right. Chuck Bam says Skinny Bob gained so much weight on junk food he died. Yeah, likely story. Skinny Bob up and died. Pete is here. Welcome, Pete Berry says Skinny Bob died because he was trying to ascend with Wilcock. Oh, by the way, boy, is there some developments, Pete Berry. And for those unaware, we do a series called The Wacky World of Wilcock, where we look in on David Wilcock and talk about the dumb shit he's talking about. David Wilcock is losing his mind from the amount of criticism he's been receiving lately. And I'm going to detail it for you probably tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In fact, there's so much on that to cover that we don't usually do shows on Monday night, but I decided that I needed to tonight in order to be able to get everything covered that I need to cover for this week. So we'll be here tomorrow night covering the Wacky World of Wilcock. Operation Shutdown is here and says, I love the Wacky World of Wilcock. Well, we're thankful for your help. Also, I want to remind everybody that we did 3 12-hour deep dives over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So that's 36 hours of content. We did one on Enduring Mysteries, a 12-hour deep dive marathon on the Wacky World of Wilcock, and a 12-hour deep dive on Is Free Energy Possible? Well, they're all about 12 hours. One's 11 hours and 37 minutes. One's just about 12, and one's 11 hours and 41 minutes. It's an awful lot of content. So you people always asking me for new content. It's not really new. It's more like a compilation. I realized recently that one of the things that we do very well here is collect evidence, but collating it and collecting it into one easy to digest form has been the challenge. But, people like these deep dives, and I'm kind of blown away because I'm sure that some of these people that showed up for our deep dives, they were there in the beginning of the deep dive and they were there at the end 12 hours later. I don't know if I'm sure people are jumping in and out, but it's great to have that tremendous resource. For those unaware, we try to be of public benefit. We try to educate the public about these topics, and those deep dives are a big part of it. It's kind of like a thesis. I've collected evidence for years on various topics. So when we put them all together, it's sort of like the thesis or the conclusion of all of my research. Now, that's not to say that I won't continue research into those subjects or areas, but these deep dives are just the collection of what I have amassed so far. Algaray says, is there a 12-hour deep dive covering your scams? Yes. If there's a 12-hour deep dive covering all your scams, consider that a red flag. Absolutely. We've got one on Stephen Greer. We've got one on Jimmy Church and Linda Moulton Howe. We've got a second one on Linda Moulton Howe. She's got so many. We've got one on David Wilcock. We're going to have one on Lue Elizondo this weekend. Jason Parker, thanks for being a member. Thanks for being here. Says, listening to Wilcock gives me the urge to shove chopsticks in my ears. Yeah. Archaic Revival says, superpower. Yes. Bobby McBride says, got 2 more to go, Steve. I'm working on it. Yeah, I think we'll have 3 more deep dives, but I keep saying I don't know how long I can keep this up because it's a really tough week, Bobby McBride, to gather 3 12-hour shows and edit. And by the way, I don't do very much editing, but you have to edit them a little bit and to, to render them and upload them. It's a busy week, but I'm going to try my best to have 3 more for you. Tales of the Sonic Voyage, a little late, says, hello, everyone. Okay, and we have Comp Lizer, longtime show supporter, one of the longest show supporters we've had here. Been here since the days of my audio podcast, even before Truth Seekers. Comp Lizer says, Stephen Bruddy, what do you think about Dr. Aman Hillman, Lady Babylon YouTube channel? I don't know. Send me links and I'll look into them. I'm not very familiar. I'm familiar on a surface level, but not really. I don't have a lot of deep information. I wouldn't want to. I try to not put my mouth in gear until I have facts in hand, which is a problem. Some dickhead clickbait merchant show hosts. That's a lesson some dumb dickhead clickbait garbage peddling show host should learn before, have facts in hand before putting your mouth in gear. If you don't know why I'm calling a show host trash, then maybe just keep your mouth shut, right? Hitting yourself on the head with your own UFO drone qualifies you as a Linda Moulton Howe inside whistleblower. Absolutely. Absolutely. Arlene says there was a charity with Lou, Rob Heatherly, and Shannon Scott. Don't know if it was legit or just another farce. No, I believe that one might have been legit. Linda interviews all the seals at SeaWorld. Well, at least those are real seals, Jason Parker. She finally got some real seals to interview. For those unaware, Linda Moulton Howe has been caught interviewing fake Navy SEALs multiple times. Yeah. So, yeah. All right, we are gonna conclude our broadcast here. We want to thank each and every one of you for joining us. We want to thank our kind and generous benefactors. We want to thank all of you audience members. We want to thank you kind and generous benefactors. Like I said, you Patreon supporters, YouTube channel members, PayPal pledgers, Twitch subscribers, super sticker people, super thanks people, all of you. We appreciate all of your kindness, generosity, and support. We're a viewer-supported show. I'm not selling out for clicks and views, and we need your support to continue to remain honest in the face of this situation. Listen, don't make me dig up all the grandmothers, the dead grandmothers of the assholes who pushed that alien fake mummy story. Don't make me start digging up grandmoms and doing alien scams to make money. Get those donations in. I don't really want to dig up people's dead grandmoms and rip apart the dead grandmom. And I do have some plaster of Paris ready in the event of if we have a fundraising emergency, if I got to start digging up dead grandmoms of UFO podcast hosts or, show hosts who don't vet anything, if I got to start digging up their dead grandmoms and ripping apart the dead grandmom, gluing it back together to look like an alien. You put the leg bone where the arm goes. You put the arm bone as a leg. Maybe you glue a llama skull on top of that shit, plaster it all up, make it look like E.T. I'm going to have to start grifting if the fundraising, if our fundraising goals are not met. I may have to start the dead grandma body grift. But don't worry. All those assholes that promoted that fake scam based on people's dead relatives being dug out of the ground, ripped apart, and glued back together to look like an alien will be perfectly okay with me digging up their dead grandmoms and running my own dead grandma alien body scam, right? They're okay with it, so they can't complain if I do it to their dead grandma. I think that's an emergency fundraising plan. I'm going to have to put that on the block here. I got a board where I write things, things to do, things I have to do, things I may have to do if the fundraising if we don't reach our fundraising goals. I'm digging up dead grandmoms of everybody that promoted that fake hoax. All right. We've done our due diligence, friends. I want to thank each and every one of you for all the support, and especially thank all of you people for the tremendous outpouring of support we got over the weekend. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys will be throwing in enough in my hat to keep me from digging up the dead grandmoms and doing the dead grandma alien scam. But I do, just so you know, I got a shovel and I got plaster of Paris. I'll do it. All right. That's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Camby, and good